Hello once again, this is Teacher Joyce. So today we're going to have new lesson which is modals. Okay, this is our lesson for the quarter 2, module 2, week 2. For the lesson 1, we have must and shall. Lesson 2, will and would. Lesson 3, can and may. So these particular modals are very useful and you have to know what it is. Okay, but first, let us understand what are modals. Modals are auxiliary verbs. They are called helping verbs because they add meaning to the main verb in a sentence. Now, let's first the modal must. Okay, what is the function of it? It is used to express obligation or duty. Like for example, we must wear face masks when we go out. Everyone must follow rules and health protocols to avoid COVID-19. Number 3, the students must read stories at least 3 times a week. Okay, so must is used for expressing responsibilities. Next, we can also use must in emphasizing the necessity or the need of something, or if you wanted to give your strong point of view or your opinion or your idea. Okay, for example, we must drink at least 6 to 8 glasses of water each day. Number 2, you must study the last chapters before the test. Number 3, we must fasten our seatbelts. Okay, so you could also use the modal must if you wanted to express certainty based on the evidence. Okay, certainty means you are pretty sure that it is something that is true. Okay, number 1, the ground was wet this morning. It must have rained last night. Number 2, it's 5 in the morning and you still haven't gone to bed. You must be tired. Number 3, he must have left the water running. Okay, so you are expressing certainty based on what you have seen. So you use the modal must. Okay, next is you can also use must if something, if you talk something about highly recommended things. Okay, for example, you must see a doctor immediately for your illness. The ice cream here is delicious. You must try some. Number 3, students must not run in corridors to avoid accidents. Okay, now let's move on to the modal shall. Shall is a modal that is used to indicate future action. So if you wanted to talk about future actions, you use the modal shall. And it is most commonly used in the sentences with subjects like I, we, or you. So shall is used to suggest something in a form of a question, like for example, shall we read our book together? Shall we begin cleaning the house? Shall I cook some pancakes for breakfast? Shall we go now? Okay, so you use the modal shall if you're going to suggest something to someone. Okay, next is you also use it if you're going to make a promise or talking about voluntary actions. For example, I shall fetch water for mother. I shall take care of my younger sister. We shall help our mom doing household chores. Okay? Next is you can also use shall to describe formal obligations, meaning your obligations toward the society, towards the community. For example, students shall wear school IDs inside the campus. Number 2, the teacher shall provide an answer sheet for the test. Number 3, the school shall ensure safety for all the learners. The school shall ensure safety for all the learners. Okay? So that is the function of the modal shall. Now, remember that the modal must is used to express obligations or duty, necessity of something, evidence, and recommendation. And while the modal shall is used in suggestion, promise, and future actions. Okay, let us check how far have you learned from our topic for today. You use must and shall to complete the sentence. Number one, blank I take this garbage can out. Okay, what's the answer? The answer is shall, because you are suggesting something. Shall I take this garbage can out? Number two, I blank finish answering this module. So as you can see, that module is very important, so you must use the modal must. I must finish answering this module. Number three, the cake is so delicious. You must try it. Number four, it blank have rained last night and the streets are wet. So you could say, it must have rained last night and the streets are wet. How about number five? Kids, blank, we go to the beach tomorrow. Is it must or shall? Okay, let's see. Kids, shall we go to the beach tomorrow? The answer is shall. Why? Because you are suggesting something to someone. Okay, now let's move on to the next topic. Now for our lesson 2, we're gonna talk about will and would. And this is very useful in everyday expressions. Okay, for will, you use will if you talk about future actions, just like shall. For example, I will call you later. I will return the book tomorrow. Okay? And number 2, you also use will to express predictions. What is predictions? When you predict something, you try to guess what will happen based on your observation. So you will say, I think it will rain tonight. Number 2, I'm sure he will be a successful lawyer someday. Okay? You make some predictions. Next is, you can also use the modal will to make promises. For example, I will help you with your homework later. Number 2, Mother will cook a mungo soup tonight. Number 3, I will review my lessons tonight. Okay. Now for would, you use it for talking about conditionals. It means that this would happen if you are given some conditions. For example, if we had more money, we would go on vacation every month. Okay? We would have a movie marathon if you are done with our homework. Okay? It's like you're given something and this would happen. Okay? So that is for conditionals. Other functions of would is to talk about polite request. For example, you say, would you please help me? Would it be okay if I turn off the lights? For example, if you're eating and you wanted to get the salt or water, so you would like to request someone to do it for you, so would say, would you please pass the water? Would you please get a water for me? Okay. Next is, you also use the modal would if you're talking about habitual actions in the past, meaning if you're talking about the things that you have done many times in the past. For example, when Beth was a kid, she would play with dolls every day. Mother would wake up early every day, every Saturday to wash dirty clothes. Mother would wake up early every Saturday to wash dirty clothes. Okay? That is talking about habitual actions. Okay, next is, okay, now, do you learn something from me? Okay, so what have you learned? So remember that will is used to talking about future actions, expressing predictions, and making promises, while would is used for conditionals if you're given some situations, for making polite requests and talking about habitual actions in the past. Okay, Now let's see how far have you learned. Okay, you use will or would to complete each sentence. Okay, number one, Father blank buy chicken for dinner. Okay, Father will buy chicken for dinner. Number two, she would turn 11 on her birthday. She will turn 11 on her birthday. Number three, if it was not raining, we would go for a walk. Okay, talking about conditionals. Number four, I promise I will return the book tomorrow. Number five, he he would eat an entire pizza if his mother did not stop him. Okay? Okay, so that is the knowledge check. Now let's move on to another lesson. Now, have you ever wondered how each of us develop into a unique person because we're not uh, the same, right? We're very unique to each other. Now, I want you to read the passage with me. Okay. There are things that a child can do. A child can play, sing, explore things, and do different activities. And when he grows up, there are already limitations on the actions that he may do. He may need his parents' approval so that he may do the right things. Okay? So there are things that we can do, and there are things that there are limitations. Okay? Now, can you tell the activities that a child can do? Okay. So, the child can sing, no, can do many things. What do the underlined words indicate? Okay, the underlined words indicate about the things that they can do and about the things that he may do. Okay, now, what is the difference between can and may? Do you know the difference? Okay, now, the word can shows the ability to do something. For example, she can ride a bicycle. Can she ride a bicycle? She can speak English very well. Okay, but in an informal setting, is it okay? It is okay to use can for permission. Okay, informal. For example, can she use your bicycle? Can I use your bicycle? Okay. Now the word may is used to ask permission. May she use your bicycle? May I use your bicycle? Excuse me, teacher. May I go out? May I use the restroom? Okay. May I use your laptop? Okay. So again, remember that may is used to ask permission. Okay. Now, remember that the modal can is used to show ability, and the modal may is used to ask permission from someone. Okay, now let's check how far have you learned for our lessons can and may. Now choose the appropriate modal to complete its sentence. Number one, may can you sing? Okay, what is the correct answer? Can you sing? Number two, may can I go to the restroom? So you use permission. May I go to the restroom? Number three, may can I get something to eat? So you could say, may I get something to eat? Number four, I may can draw beautiful scenery. You can say, I can draw beautiful scenery. Number five, you may can request your father to write an excuse letter. So what's the answer? You can request your father to write an excuse letter. Okay.